We're outside Razza Pizza in Jersey City. So I've known about this guy, Dan Richer, for a long time. He's social media kind of thing. He emails me, Facebooks me, Mike, come out to my place. I'm like, yeah, when I'm in Manhattan, I really don't leave Manhattan. Sorry. Then I pick up the newspaper. This past fall, 2017, New York Times, Pete Wells, the best pizza in all the boroughs is at Razza in Jersey City. And I'm like, what? And he's got Ed Levine with him, and Ed like wrote the book on pizza. So, MetroCard will travel. I figured out how to take the PATH train to Jersey, came out, tried his pies. They're unbelievable. I'm not gonna say it's the best pizza ever, because I don't ever say anything's the best, but Roberta's, Una Pizza Napoletana, Kesta, the new guy, Sortabilo. I mean, I had all the great pizzas in and around the boroughs. This guy is off the charts. It's an incredible pizza. It's not a Neapolitan style pizza. The crust is cooked all the way through on the bottom, but he's like a pizza genius. So, bunch of the show, we're going to be here talking about Pizza 101. While we're at it, we're going to hit Hudson Hall, which is this ginormous beer house, smokehouse, kind of Eastern European mashup that's beautiful a couple of blocks away. And my friend Dale Taldes got a restaurant around the corner. So 3 things on the diet, but this guy's pizza, it is worth the trip from New York, any of the boroughs, anytime. This guy's off the hook.
I'm Mike Colameco, industry insider. Been in the business my whole life, and I know what it takes to succeed. Each week we'll take you into real kitchens, filmed in real time. Backstage passes to a day in the life of chefs, restaurateurs, and their teams. The competition's fierce. Careers, life savings, and reputations hang in the balance. These are my people, and this is their passion. And that's what's next on Mike Colameco's Real Food.
Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.
This is called a stretch and fold technique, where we literally just stretch the dough and kind of fold it over on itself.
Kind of like working the gluten.
That's it.
Right?
It's just
stretch
exercise
that
for that
gluten out and flip it over, and the strands get longer. And
that's it. And it's able to hold in the gas a little bit more. Just incorporating a little bit more steam into the oven right before we put the loaves in.
So talk to me about this dough, because this is really, really delicious.
This is 3 different grains. King Arthur unbleached all-purpose flour, and then 2 different grains from upstate New York, both organically grown and milled in New York, in the Finger Lakes area.
Were you a pizza guy before you were a bread guy? Or were you
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I am at heart all about the pizza, but your pizza's only gonna be as good as your bread making techniques, because pizza ultimately is just a flatbread with some condiments on top. And it doesn't matter how good your condiments are, if the essence of what you're doing, which is a flatbread, is not really good, it's never gonna be phenomenal.
You and I have kind of known each other via social media, Instagram or Facebook or something, and you had been trying to get me out here, and my apologies. Of course, it takes the bloody New York Times. So this guy ain't playing. Congratulations on the review.
Well, I've known you, I've been watching you since I was like 20 years old.
I don't want to know about that stuff. So
I'm kind of depressed that you didn't bring the big mic.
yeah, the stick mic, the ponytail, and the goatee. Yeah, that guy's somewhere around here. So this review comes out, and I'm just like floored, because Wells is funny and the Times is funny, and I agree and I disagree, and everyone has to taste his taste. But it just seemed like he nailed it. And he had Ed Levine with him, and Ed kind of wrote like one of the definitive coast-to-coast books on pizza in America. I mean, Ed's no slouch. Almost the byline was the best pizza in New York City is in Jersey City.
I guess when the New York Times says you're 3 stars and...
Was it 3 stars?
Yeah.
I've been telling everybody it was
That's
2.
ridiculous.
That's crazy. That's brilliant.
That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
congratulations again.
Thank you.
It's great.
Again, it's just one person's opinion, and pizza is
2 in Ed's case.
Yeah, he's awesome. See all the steam?
Oh, holy mackerel.
Right?
A lot more than I thought.
Yep.
Wait till you taste this bread, guys. I say we come here and just eat bread and butter.
Yeah.
When did you get started in pizza and why?
I grew up in New Jersey, so
I can explain a lot.
so I've been eating pizza all of my life. When you're 12, 13, 14 years old, there's not much you can afford, but you can scrounge up enough coins from the couch cushions to buy a slice of pizza. So I grew up loving pizza. I flew to Italy when I was 21 years old, traveled the country top to bottom, came back, realized I want to learn how to cook, and one thing led to another, learned how to cook, bought a failing restaurant, had 2 wood-fired ovens. It was the only thing I could afford.
Right.
I basically maxed out all my credit cards.
Where was that original
Maple.
restaurant? That was Arturo's in Maple.
Yeah. And we were making pizza. It just wasn't good.
Right.
So I focused on one element at a time, just one element at a time. Find the best cheese, find the best tomatoes. What makes the best tomatoes? Find really good olive oil, start bringing in better ingredients. It was all very ingredient driven. And at a certain point, it got to a place where it was very good pizza, but it wasn't phenomenal. So that's when I started studying bread making techniques. All right, Exhibit A. This is our first batch of dough that we'll be using for the night. Our starter culture has a tiny, tiny, minuscule amount of commercial yeast. Because we're using that commercial yeast and it is such a vigorous gas producer,
Bread to do it.
it gives us this texture that is so light and so crispy, more crispy and more light than when we use solely natural fermentation. If you taste it with tomato sauce and cheese or any of the toppings, you miss out on the nuances. So when I test out the differences between these two,
Just dough.
I usually bake it with something on top just to mimic the performance of it, but I'll eat it backwards. I'll eat it crust first, and I'll show you later. It's ridiculous how I. So wait till you see this one.
Dissection. Look at that. Even look at the color in there.
Yeah, creamy white. Definitely not bright white. It's completely unbleached. Wait till you taste that. That's where it's at. Like, look at that. I love
the camera. Look at that shot, that spot there.
that. That's my favorite. Big open holes, thin cell walls.
Yeah, paradise.
I'm always messing with the dough. Always. I feel like I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been making pizza for 15 years now. I feel like I've just scratched the surface. I feel like I'm just at the beginning. And every day is that opportunity to make a really great product and to learn something from it. Or we could just rely on a recipe that's already done.
Right, that you feel, okay, it's consistent, we've nailed it, stick with this, period, I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's not happening.
That's not happening, no.
Right. Let's just talk tomatoes. So you actually once a year do a blind cutting of tomato,
Yeah.
where you'll get tomatoes from San Marzano, a Jersey canned tomato, a California canned tomato, whatever, a non-San Marzano from Puglia. You'll blind taste them. So what's the selection?
So it's a double blind taste test.
Okay.
We do it at least once a year. I don't really care what the label is or where it comes from. I care if it tastes good. And that's it.
And
so
your tomatoes are actually from?
right now they're from California.
Which is crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought. And then I'm eating your pie and I'm looking at the tomatoes, and your sauce is like barely manipulated. What is it exactly? I mean, your quote tomato sauce is what?
Tomatoes run through a food mill, pinch of salt. That's it.
Period.
That's
so
it.
just crush them through a food mill. We're done. I have the consistency I like. Pinch of salt. I'm finished.
That's it.
No garlic. No long
no,
cook.
no.
No saute. No nothing.
Nothing.
Do we really want to see you get the pie and like throw it up in the air and do the big catch thing? And that's what we're looking for in this show, is those kind of visuals.
Production value.
Yeah, that's it, baby. It's
Project Hazelnut.
Yeah, these are our Rutgers University hazelnuts. So right now the only hazelnuts in the United States are in Oregon.
Yeah, they are. There's some really delicious ones out there too.
Yeah. So they're trying to,
Get them in Jersey.
yep.
Chip, where's the salumi coming from on this pie?
That is Oli in Virginia. Yeah, it's wild boar. It's like a wild boar salami. As chefs, we have control over really three things. You have your ideology, the blueprints to build the house, right? You have control over your ingredients, and you have control over your techniques. So I started to really develop a strong sense of purpose and ideology, and what did I want the pizza to be? And so I came up with an evaluation system for myself with about 48 different characteristics about pizza that I love.
48.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what I was trying to achieve. So if you're trying to make a product, how do you know what you're trying to build if you don't have the blueprints?
Yeah.
Want to see the evaluation rubrics?
You're gonna need a close-up of this somehow, Kirk.
This is the olive oil. The tomato is here.
And who do you sit down with? Just you and your sous chefs, you and your chefs, you and your friends, you and your wife?
All of the above.
You and your kids?
Not yet, not yet. And this is the general pizza one. I don't usually share that with anyone.
The 48 list.
It's like
It's over, it's for private. He can't see that one. Closing the book now.
These are my blueprints.
Hey, we're done now.
Meatballs are a dish made from poverty. So take this really expensive ingredient, like protein and meat,
And stretch it.
And stretch it with, usually with breadcrumbs or bread. So what we do is we take our day-old bread, and we also make our own butter here. And
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
We're not done ingredients
part
here.
of the butter making process is we get buttermilk, real buttermilk. So we soak the day-old bread in the buttermilk from the butter making process.
Panade.
Incorporate that
Right.
into the meat. Use a tiny bit of onion and some eggs. Roll it into meatballs, and then we roast them in the wood-fired oven before we bake the bread. It's one of the ways that we're able to cool the oven down to the bread-baking temperature.
Holy mackerel, look at the color of that. And you make your own butter, so you're churning bloody butter.
Yeah.
Mildly cheesy.
And this is one of the aged butters. This is 11 months, and this one is about 2 weeks. Nothing worse than cold butter. Yeah.
That's how you do the bread service, right?
That's it.
This bread comes, boom, 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 apply as needed.
That's it. I swear to God, every day it's like a sigh of relief when it looks like that.
Like we're worried.
Yeah. So super crispy on the outside.
Beautiful crumb.
You know, really darkly baked. Deep caramelization is always going to taste awesome, but it's the crumb that doesn't have the caramelization that's going to give you a real sense of how it was fermented. One of the great things about bread is that dichotomy between the crust and the crumb, the interior and the exterior. Super assertively caramelized and flavorful on the outside.
And the
but
inside technically is just steamed.
Super delicate and creamy on the inside. It's like, it's just trying to achieve both of those things is what's really special.
This is going to be the buffalo, I think. You're also, it appears, a champion of trying to use as much New Jersey ingredients as you can. I mean, it's local, why not? So, for example, your mozzarella di bufalo isn't coming in flown twice a week from Naples
Definitely.
or wherever the hell to southern Italy. Somebody in Jersey imported that same cattle and they're making it here?
They have that breed of animal and
In Jersey?
Yeah.
So, mozzarella di bufalo from Jersey. Who knew?
Basically, buffalo mozzarella cheese is a cheese that's supposed to be made today, eaten today.
Yes, mozzarella,
That's
period,
it.
yeah. There's 24 good things
That's
about
it.
mozzarella and it loses 1 an hour. That's the story.
Yeah. So when it's flown in from Italy, it goes through customs to a distributor to a
Warehouse, to a truck, to a refrigerator.
It's old.
Jesus, it's like custard. Oh, man.
Mike, can I get a bite? What's the deal?
Not if you don't ask. He doesn't know this guy, does he? There's a
Earthy.
saline and an earthy and an acid.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an acidity at the end.
It's just
Jesus.
delicious. Just delicious.
Yeah. It's basically not a dead product. How we doing?
How did you find this? Like, what was it about?
I wanted to be a part of a developing neighborhood. So I used to hang out here, and it just kind of happened.
One thing led to another. You
Yeah.
heard about this, and
Well, I actually was introduced to our landlords, and I liked the landlords so much, had such a good experience with them, that they just basically said, name your price, we want you to be a part of building our neighborhood. And really the opposite end of the spectrum from other landlords.
We're gonna season some salt.
It's a big portion, 8 ounces?
This is definitely a very meat and potatoes town, for sure.
While I'd been to most of Dale Taldes' spots in Manhattan and Brooklyn, I thought I'd check out his Jersey City restaurant while we're over here on this side of the Hudson.
And like I told you, I have this affinity for like Benihana.
So when did you open this? Reminded me?
This is 2.5 years, 3 years old.
So you've been in Jersey City for the last few years?
Yep. We take some more onions, because it's really about onions and beef and how much we love the two together. We pickled them and then we charred them and to make these beautiful petals. And we're just gonna warm them up a little bit, but it's pickled. You know, for me and my partners, we looked at it as this opportunity, like Talde, Brooklyn, of this is an underserved market. This place has the residents, it's crying out for business, just everything. Nightlife, bars, restaurants.
More butter. There's a building boom. I mean, I see it. I drive in the tunnel from when I come in from Cape May, and I just see cranes everywhere.
Jersey City, the skyline changes every day.
How does that not give you pleasure? It's delicious, it's fried, it's oniony.
We're here with a few of these pickles, give you some acidity to kind of play off what this is.
And what's the sauce again? Remind me.
So the sauce is a soy garlic butter. You know, you don't need a lot. It's just to accent the dish, something to drag your onion rings through.
Cream reduction, like a beurre blanc?
Yeah, it's a beurre blanc. We're happy to be here. We love it down here. There's a ton of Filipinos here that kind of relate to my food. There's also a great old Italian community. Yep. There's a great Latino community. So it's just a real influence of a lot of different great cultures that are here. So for us, we wanted to go back to my roots in the Philippines. We were colonized by the Spaniards for 400 years. There is such a heavily Spanish influence in the Philippines that I wanted to use that and embrace it. You know, we poached this octopus in oil, annatto seed, vinegar, like an adobo, and then we just take potatoes, grapes, and olives, and we roast it over this wood-burning grill.
So I mentioned this thing about the 6th borough, and then you were schooling me off camera about how nobody likes that down here. Like,
No.
talk about that.
No,
because you came from the city. You're established. You're Brooklyn. You're in Manhattan. You
Brooklyn,
think big deal. You get here.
But now I live in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and what this community will not hear is that they are the sixth of anything. We are the #1 Jersey City, and Jersey City is strong. Coming from Brooklyn, we just want to be part of neighborhoods. We want to be part of your neighborhood, and not for like a hot second, right? We want to know who our neighbors are. We want our neighbors to know who we are. We want them to love our restaurants because inevitably, I go out. I've had Dan's Pizza. I can't tell you how many times. When we need to have a business meeting, it's like, yo, I feel like pizza. Let's go to Razza. You know what I love is the Filipino community out here. We represent. They represent. They see fellow Pinoys doing their thing in restaurants or in bars, and they want to be part of it. They want to know how we can all work together. And then just a little dollop of this, almost like a romesco spicy mayo aioli thing that we got going on. I love just garnishing things with whole leaves of mint. I feel like it adds like this lettuce, this freshness to this that the dish is kind of crying for.
Beautiful.
That's it.
The team behind Hudson Hall are big in the New Jersey beer garden scene, with a very successful one already established in Asbury Park. Here they've got a smokehouse and do a lot of Eastern European cuisine, smoking, curing, and pickling in-house. You were part of the original team from the Bohemian Beer Hall in Queens.
In Astoria.
The Astoria that started like the whole beer hall thing. How many years ago?
That was 10 years ago.
That was really like the first Eastern European full-on beer hall in all the boroughs.
Exactly. It's the most authentic and the most original beer hall and beer garden in the tri-state area.
All right, so you guys have a lock on the beer end of things, but now you sort of want to up your game and become like beer garden, beer hall / but with this sort of Eastern, for want of a better term, like Eastern European food. How'd that concept come together?
We wanted to step out of that game of typical beer garden and beer hall concepts, so we introduced smoked meats.
Chef, what sandwich is this?
It's our house smoked pastrami sandwich, French fries. There's some spicy remoulade on it, tomatoes and romaine lettuce.
Give them a little more smoke.
There's 2 pork bellies. I cured them overnight, washed them down, and dried them out. And now I'm smoking them for 6 hours by 180. This is brisket. So we brine them for 5 to 6 days. Salt, pepper, of course, sugar, juniper berries, bay leaf, pickling spice, basically.
And what's the rub? I know it's proprietary, but basically.
The rub is cumin, coriander seed, black pepper seeds, and a little salt and paprika. My vision for here, my idea for here, and I of course have to talk with Peter and with the other owners about it, is to make a new American, old European traditional mix, and even some stuff of molecular cuisine mixed in.
I'm going to see tweezers in the kitchen?
No, not yet.
Good, thank God.
No,
Okay,
we
good.
don't go that far.
I
No,
hope
we
we
don't.
were a
But
tweezer-free day all day today. And that looks beautiful.
James, bring a knife and let Mike taste.
You're kind of reading my mind.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. Oh, man. What can you say?
More.
He's reading the bubbles above my head.
Tabella and Evans.
This chap's interesting. He's got a lot of experience doing this kind of thing. He knows the guys that used to run Seasonal on 58th Street in New York City, because there's not that many Austrian chefs working in New York even to this day. How did you find him?
Well, I used to work with Klaus in Zeppelin Hall when we started. And we created this great relationship and friendship, so to speak. And we stayed in touch throughout all those years. And at some point, I needed a chef, so we started talking. And I finally got to get him on board with us, which I'm very happy.
Lucky break. Because this is a real kind of niche thing. I mean, there's not that many American chefs who've trained in this, again, sort of Eastern European, Austro-Hungarian melange of things, and he's like the guy. That's like in his DNA.
Absolutely. We all come from the area, from the part of the country where pickling, fermenting, and smoking was very important.
We're going to do smoked scallop.
Sounds delicious. Scallops are local. We know what they are. How long
Yep.
do you smoke them for?
Around 45 minutes, just
Hot
to
smoke.
get him hot smoke.
Okay, and then just pan sear them because
Fancy
they're
it
going to cook super fast.
Get them some color and get them warm. They're basically cooked already from the smoke.
Yeah.
Black garlic and beer puree.
The hash.
Yeah. Banana squash and
Potato.
potatoes.
Tell me about this spicy honey. You guys make this here?
No, this is from a guy, his name is Mike. He came first up. I got it with another company. They introduced it to me.
I've heard about this before.
And he makes, I think we're killing now. Yeah, but it's delicious. And there's some tenderloins as garnish. And some of the parsley microgreens. Make sure that they get enough food too, you know.
That's beautiful. So you walk in this place, and it looks like it's been here forever. It looks like a beer hall from the turn of the last century. What was this space, and tell me about how you captured this look.
It used to be a contemporary, more modern, loungy place. We got the whole place out. It looks old. Some of the items are very old and antique, but most of the stuff we created on the spot.
Well,
over here.
Keith McNally does that with every restaurant he opens. Balthazar looks like it's been in Paris since, 19-something, but he just built it that way. And then you use recycled, like your tables are made from recycled wood.
Yeah, this is what we did. Throughout the construction, we got out 1,800 square feet of basement, and I saved every single beam. We transformed the wood into this beautiful table. So pretty much the tables are as old as the building, which is over 100-year-old.
And now this metal, I'm holding onto this metal. Everywhere I'm going, I'm touching metal. Who did this work?
This beautiful work, created piece by piece, was created by older gentleman born in Czech Republic. His name is Milo.
70-year-old guy, lives in Jersey.
70-year-old guy. All the gates, all the windows, benches, stands, the bar, as you said,
all the metal
shelves,
behind the bar,
all the
shelves.
metal behind the bar was done by this gentleman, Milo.
So you're his retirement fund.
Absolutely.
But he's making. But I'm all joking aside. I mean, who can do this kind of work anymore? This is like old school. Right. You can't.
Old school craftsmanship.
Probably have something
which
made in China that
you
looks
can't
like
really-
this, but
Yep.
not this.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. And talk to me about the other room, because lunch is being served in this room. So we're going to do
Lunch
a
is
walk-in.
being served in this room. We opened this place at 12 o'clock.
So you set this up to look like a subway.
Yes, we created this tunnel as a subway style.
What a great space. And at night, this functions as just sort of a less noisy, less boisterous, more casual spot?
Yes.
Same menu though, same food.
Same menu, little different cocktail menu. It's a little different entity than the beer hall. This is more intimate environment.
That ceiling's beautiful too. It's just...
Yeah, we call this ceiling Da Vinci Code because it was very difficult to create. Really nice.
It's stunning.
What we have is the vegan cauliflower steak. So on the bottom is a charcoal white cauliflower puree with apples and shallots that have been sweated down. The steak is half a head of white cauliflower. Blanch them first for about a minute to a minute and a half, and then we smoke it in the smoker for about an hour to an hour and a half.
And the sauteed bits were just raw cauliflower that go into a saute pan, cook them for a couple of minutes?
Yep, that's exactly it. It's just a little bit of oil, salt, pepper, and love. Then we top it off with some macerated shallots and apples that's mixed in with dill oil. Then I take a little bit of the fresh purple cauliflower and then just shave it on top for color.
Jersey City, we love you. This food, we love you guys. Keep it up. Thank you so much. It's time to eat, drink, and get merry and shut the cameras off.
Mike Colameco's Real Food is brought to you by the continuous, generous support of the following underwriters.
Extra virgin olive oil from Colavita, an Italian family brand.
Rachel Ray's signature specialty food line, designed for preparing meals at home.